Hey guys, I know it's been a while, but I wanted to do a video on GHOSTRICKS. They're coming out in Shadow Specters, which is the next set. I believe the sneak peek is on the 30th of August, which is the day before Halloween, which is pretty cool. Because all these guys kind of have tie-ins to Halloween. They're ghouls, ghosts, and goblins. Let's see, we got a witch, Frankenstein, Jiangshi, which I think is like a Asian spirit. Reminds me of Xianko from Darkstalkers, actually. Lantern is Pumpkinhead, and Spectre's just a little ghost. But Ghostricks, when I first saw them, I thought they were like an X-Seed machine, and they just spit out X-Seeds and be broken like every new archetype, but they're actually a control-based deck. You're flipping your opponent's monsters face down via certain things, and then attacking over them. Not attacking actually into them, but Ghostrick House allows you to attack directly if all of my opponent's monsters are face down. So they're pretty cool. Let's talk about Ghostricks in general. All these monsters in the lineup I have here have the effect that once per turn they can flip themselves face down. So kind of like a Destlacuta or a Swarm of Locusts, those cards. And they also cannot be normal summoned. Only be set unless there's another Ghostrick on the field that's face up. So I can't just, if I have an empty field, I can't just normal summon a Stein, for example. So let's talk about their actual spells and traps before we talk about the monsters, because these two cards are the reason the deck works. Ghostrick House, let me read this directly. Face down monsters cannot be targeted for attacks. So that's the first line of it, so that's already pretty powerful. And if the only monsters a player controls are face down, their opponent's monsters can attack them directly. So if all my Ghostricks are face down, oh shit, now my opponent can attack me directly, but all that damage is half, so it's not that bad. But the Ghostricks aren't affected by that. So if all my opponent's monsters are face down, my Ghostricks can attack for full damage. Great thing, protects all your monsters, protects your life points pretty well as well. So it is a sort of double-edged sword, but a little bit less dull on the end you're taking. So Ghostrick Panic, amazing card. Pretty much if my Ghostricks are face down and I activate this card, I can flip as many of them up as I want, and then I can flip as many up to that many down on my opponent's side. So it's a great disruptor. It's like a Book of Moon on steroids, but it also allows for some of my Ghostricks to get extra effects. So it's great. It's the reason the deck works. And I'll show you a duel later. I'm just going to play one duel because I don't want this to be like a 20-minute video. So let's go over the monsters real quick. Pretty much Witch, 1200 attack, and once per turn. Obviously she can flip herself down, but she can also flip an opponent's monster. Stein, whenever he does damage, he can search out either House or Panic. Let's talk about Spectre real quick. If one of my Ghostrick cards is destroyed by a battle or by a card effect, he special summons from the hand, and you draw a card. And Lantern, if one of my Ghostricks are attacked, or if I'm attacked directly, he can special summon himself out and negate that attack. Last but not least, let's talk about Jiangshi. She's very important. She's like a Gravekeeper spy, but not as broken, I guess. She's got 1800 defense, which is great for a Ghostrick. But when she flips up, she can add one Ghostrick monster to the hand, but which ones you can add is dependent on how many other monsters there are on the field. So if she flips up by herself, she's the only Ghostrick out there. That means she can only get level 1s. If she flips up with another monster out there, that means she can now get 2, because there's level 2s, because now there's 2 Ghostricks. And obviously, if there's 3 monsters total when she's flipped up, she can get Stein or Jiangshi herself, because they're level 3s. So she's not super broken. That makes these summoning effects of Lantern and Spectre, special summoning out of your hand for various reasons, kind of powerful because it unlocks higher levels of Ghostricks for Jiangshi. So that's pretty cool. So that's all your lineup is. So you're pretty much, what you're doing is you're flipping down your opponent's monsters and you're poking them for, maybe 3k a turn, and obviously in 3 turns that's overwhelming and you win. So that's the goal. You do have X-Seeds to back you up if you need them, but from what I've seen so far, they're more of there if you need them, not you need them to win, like there are on some decks. So obviously Pot of Duality at 2. 1 Dark Hole, double MST, 1 Monster Reborn, 1 Allure, 1 Forbidden Lance, 1 Book of Moon, 3 Swords Concealing. This flips down all of your opponent's monsters and keeps them locked down for 2 of your standby phases, which is actually pretty amazing. Your opponent, say they go all in first turn or go pretty deep. You flip all their stuff face down, and you get free attacks. If you have Ghostrick House out, you get free attacks over into their life points for 2 of your standby phases. So however many battle phases that is, you get to attack in. So that's pretty awesome. This is an OCG build. I don't know if I've mentioned that. I might have already said that. I apologize if it's repeating myself. House we've already talked about. Panic we've already talked about. So Bottomless, Mirror Force, and the Slum Brigade, and Starlight Road. I think in the game I'm going to show you I do actually get the Starlight Road when he has the Heavy Storm, which is pretty awesome. Then just a standard lineup. They do have their own Exceed. It requires 2 level 3s. 1800 attack, so it's pretty awesome if he can attack directly. But pretty much once per turn, I can detach a material and destroy a set card on the field. And also when he dies, I get a Ghost Trick back to my hand from the graveyard, so that's pretty nifty. So let's go to a replay. I've done a few Ghost Trick games. I'm going to show you the one against Bujin, which is War Gods. So let's look at the starting hands. I start with a Witch, 2 Houses, a Panic, and a Mirror Force. He starts with 2 of these Quillen things, which, let's see, he wants this in his graveyard, it looks like. And then Heavy Storm, Duality, and Compulse. So let's play out the first hand. Since I do have the Starlight Road, I go kind of nutty. I set everything, except for obviously the house. So Starlight Road, Mirror Force, and Panic. Pretty nice back row with just the Witch, which is kind of a weak start, but we can play with it. What he does is he dualities. Obviously getting the Tenki here, and he's going to Tenki into Yamato, which is kind of like the Stratos for War Gods. So he does go ahead and activate the Heavy Storm. I do have the Starlight Road, so we'll let that play out. I wouldn't set that many cards if I didn't have the Starlight Road. I'm lucky I had it, because he probably would have Heavy Stormed 2 cards at this point, because he just wants to set up and have his Tenki be free out there. So he does get the Yamato. Now I know that Yamato, if it makes it to the end phase, is going to search. So I'm actually going to do an early Ghost Trick Panic here and prevent the search for a turn. I don't want him to set up, because once War Gods are set up and stuff gets in the graveyard, they're really hard to beat. So I flip up my Witch, flip down his Yamato, he doesn't get a search. I actually draw into another Panic, which is really good for me, because I end up needing this. So his only monster is face down, so I am going to attack directly with the Witch because I have Ghostrick House. And I see that this attack goes through with really no problem. So I'm not really sure at what point he plans on using the Compulse. I know he uses on the Stardust. So let's go ahead and play it out. We set the Panic. He flips up the Yamato. Normal summons a Quillen. I assume he's going to Exceed here. And I almost Ghostrick Panicked here, but I didn't. I know that since he only has my only face-up monster is Stardust Dragon, he can only attack into Stardust Dragon. So whatever he exceeds has to be able to beat Stardust, and I'm okay with him going into, a Gem Knight Pearl just to attack over Stardust. So that's kind of why I hold off on the Panic for this turn. And it turns out he just wants to get his Yamato, search or dump whatever he just did. I think he sent one to the graveyard. And passes, doesn't attack, doesn't try to do anything too tricky. I think he's saving it for the next turn, so it's pretty good for us. Right here we're going to flip our Witch, and what I was going to do was flip, I believe the Yamato face down, just attack into it, but he ends up bouncing away. Excuse me, I was going to attack into it, and then he ends up bouncing away the Stardust. So I do set the Jiangshi and the Witch, and pass back to him. Now he flips up and goes into the Susanoo, which I do want to flip face down. So I Panic here, and I flip up my 2 monsters. Flip down his 1, and now I get a level 1 or level 2. End up getting a level 1, so I can block this attack with Spectre. So I'm looking pretty good here. I have a really nice setup, so since I have 3 monsters, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually use Jiangxi's effect to set herself, and then I'm going to flip her back face up whenever Lantern's face up. And I'm going to get a Stein, and the Stein is the bad boy, the one that you want out. He kind of gets everything rolling here. So all that plays out, we get our Stein, and then we're going to use our Witch to set this Kaiku, so now we can attack directly. And all he has is a Bottomless, and I was actually pretty shocked to see that he didn't use it on Stein. He might have been waiting for an Exceed or something. So he doesn't use on Stein, so I attack with Stein first, get out another Panic, and then I just load up all the damage, and it brings him down to 1550, which is an important number because that means one attack from Stein can kill him. And then I set everything that I can, except for Jiangxi, and I set the Panic. He top decks the Torrential, which is almost really good for him, but I only have 1600 I need to knock off, or excuse me, 1550. So I blocked the last attack with that Mirror Force we were hanging on to since the beginning of the duel, and now all we have to do is pretty much switch Stein into attack mode and attack, which is kind of pretty much what I'm going to do. I think I end up top decking MST, didn't really matter. I wasn't going to flip up anything other than the Stein and attack for game, so he knows that he's going to lose, so he gives up. So that's Ghostricks, guys. They're pretty nifty. Check them out.